Hey everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Couple. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. It's finally snowing here in Utah. We've had about a week straight of 70-degree weather, so we're getting really excited to have some snow and getting into that Christmas spirit. Today's video is a little more on the neutral boho side, whereas last video was modern. We like to switch it up and give you guys some different ideas. So hopefully that helps out with you creating your own crafts. And if you guys do enjoy today's video, please give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments which one's your favorite.
For this first craft, I am starting with this gold hoop that I got from Joann. And you can use this 3D wreath form from Dollar Tree if you want to keep this all Dollar Tree. I just didn't have the smaller hoop that is usually inside the 3D wreath form since it usually comes with about 3 or 4 of them. Then I grabbed my Dollar Tree yarn and just measured about how long I want the yarn to hang down from the hoop. Mine in the middle after I cut it hangs down past 17 inches, so maybe you'll want it about 20 inches. Once you have one template piece, just kind of go off that, make a bunch of them. I don't have an exact number, I just did as many as I could. Then you will have a group of pieces all the same size. Then I separated them into groups of 5. Then grab one of the sections of 5. You will want it folded in half. And then just loop it over itself, over the hoop like you see here. We will be doing that with every single section, and I ended up with 21 sections of 5 pieces of yarn. So there will be 5 pieces of yarn in every section, and then there's 21 sections across the whole entire hoop. You will want it hanging up for this part, but I just cut mine in a triangle shape. For the greenery, I'm just using 2 picks that we got from Walmart, and they were only 97 cents a piece. I'm just going to be bending it to kind of follow the hoop shape, and I will be doing the same with the other one. To attach them, instead of hot glue, I will be using these zip ties. Just use one zip tie to attach it sort of in the middle, and then we'll be adding another zip tie in a little bit at the very end of the pick just to give it more stability. The other one you will also want to make it curved, and you will want to add it the opposite way so that the 2 pieces meet. And then also add zip ties just to make it all secure. And then remember just to cut the excess pieces. I originally had the picks in the middle instead of over in the side like you see in the pictures. I personally like it on the side a little bit more. Let me know in the comments which one you like.
For this vase, we're going to be using this 11-foot nautical rope from Dollar Tree. This is that white rope's a little bit different than the other one. And the first thing that we want to do here is take the little piece of tape off of each end, and then we're going to actually unravel this whole thing so that we have the 3 separate strands. Once we have all these strands separated, we're going to braid these together to get a little bit of a unique look or just more character instead of just a rope when we wrap this around the vase. So I just tied mine in a little knot. You can also just use a little bit of hot glue to glue those ends together, and then you will need something to hold it down as you're braiding it. Once you have that secured, you can start braiding this, and you want to go ahead and braid the entire rope. If you have someone that can help you with this to kind of control the back part from getting tangled up, that will definitely make this easier since it's such a long rope. And then here in a second I'll show you, we don't actually need to use the entire braided part, but I would recommend just braiding all of it first, and then at the end you can use the remaining part for the top of the vase. And then right here, just put a little bit of hot glue to connect the ends. Like I said earlier, you can do this at the very beginning instead of tying the knot, but if you tie the knot, just undo that and then glue it right here. And then that is going to be our starting point for where we start wrapping this around the vase and gluing it down. And just so the threads weren't going everywhere, I waited for the hot glue to cool down a little bit, and then I just pinched that together so it was nice and tight. Now that we have our rope ready, we can move on to gluing it onto our actual vase. So run a little line of glue on the bottom there, and I'm just using hot glue. That should work just fine for this project. I don't think you guys need anything stronger. And then I would wrap it around a little bit more and then put some glue all the way around till you get to where you started. And then once we get to where we started, what we want to do is just move up a little bit from there. So as you work your way all the way around, you'll see we'll meet up with the starting point right here. And then just glue it up into that point and then wrap it up a little bit around that, and then you can start your second row. Really, really simple. That's what I love about this project is pretty straightforward, easy project, but I think the end result is very, very elegant and beautiful. When you get close to finishing up the braided part of this project, what you want to do is keep in mind where you started. So you want to glue this all the way around to where you originally started, since you're going to see those seams, and then we want to cut it off right there. And then this is where you want to unravel the remaining amount that's been braided, because we're going to use those 3 strands to finish off the top of this vase. Now that we have the 3 separate strands, we're going to use these to finish off our design for the vase. So instead of doing the braid all the way up, this just gives it a little bit more character. And what we want to do is start in the back where we have our seams. That's one thing that you may think of doing, is just wrapping around all the way until you run out of the string. But to make this look as good as possible, you want to keep in mind where all of those seams are. So by wrapping it around to the seams and cutting it off, it's going to give it that really crisp, polished look. So this should have a little bit of extra string left over once you get around to the back side, as you can see here. So you just want to cut off the remaining amount and then glue that down, and then you're going to do that with the other 2 strings as well. And just to give you guys a few ideas while you're making this, if you wanted to, since they do have the 2 different nautical robes, they have this one and the one that's a little bit more of a brown or tan color, you could use some of that for maybe half of it or a third of it, and then this for the remaining amount. There's a lot that you could do to kind of give it a different feel. I was going for more of a neutral kind of boho feel for this, so I went with just the one single white color. You could also add some different paints if you wanted to kind of add in some tribal designs. There's really a lot that you could do. That's why I love working with this rope. But I just want to give you guys a few other ideas while you're making this. And to finish this up, we're going to use a couple picks from Walmart. Now these were only 98 cents each. So anytime we can, we always love to take it up just a little bit, and the Dollar Tree products aren't always the greatest, and if you can get away with a similar price but a much higher look, I would definitely recommend it.
For this last project, we are going to end up using 3 of these Dollar Tree Christmas trees. So one of them we will be using the stand, and the other 2 we will only be using just the actual tree part. So the one that is on the stand, just put all of the branches down, put them all the way to the left side. For the next tree, put all the branches down as well, but put them all the way to the right side. We will be joining them together to make a little bit bigger of a tree, which I think ended up pretty cute. So I don't like this big bulky piece at the bottom. Luckily, it did come off really easy with the set of needle nose pliers. To attach the second tree, I'm just using some zip ties that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm adding mine just a little bit up so that you don't see where the base is. So add one zip tie at the very bottom, and then I will be adding a second zip tie about midway. Now I'm moving the branches on the first tree at the very top of the first tree over to the right so that we can put the third tree. So where the very top of the first tree is, that's where you're going to put the third tree. For the third tree, just move the branches at the very bottom since that's all that's going to be attached. And then just like we did before, add a zip tie at the very bottom where it meets, and then add one just slightly above that. Now, as you can see, we will need to move the branches quite a bit and do a lot of adjusting just to make this look a lot better. This is what the tree is looking like without adding anything or cutting anything, just adding the 3 trees. Now I grabbed a 15-foot garland from Dollar Tree, and we're going to be adding a bunch of pieces to fill in where the tops of the other 2 trees are, just since the branches were smaller and we need to fill in to make it quite a bit bigger and just add more fullness to the tree. This is one of my favorite ways to add fullness to a tree anyways, and this ended up working really well for this tree. I would recommend doing this to any tree that just needs a little extra oomph pretty much. I love doing this technique and it ends up saving quite a bit of money. Once you've added those branches, now it's time to shape your tree, since you will have some towards the top that need to be shaved down a little bit, and at the very bottom towards the middle you will need some volume, so don't cut too much in the middle. This is how mine was looking. I was really impressed since the Dollar Tree trees are very small. I went in with this matte white spray paint from Krylon, and I am spraying down just to give it this flocked look and just very snowy and bright. We have used the spray snow from Dollar Tree. It does give a similar effect, but we have noticed that it does fade over time. Now that the tree is done, we are going to move on to the tree skirt. We are going to be using this decorative nautical rope. I don't know if you've seen at your stores, but I have noticed that they have this smaller nautical rope. We couldn't find the thicker nautical rope, so let me know if you guys have noticed a change in yours at your stores. So basically we are going to go around the whole entire base of this tree. So make sure the hole at the bottom is large enough that you can take this out and pack it away so that you don't have to cut it off at the end of the season. Once you know how big the hole needs to be, just hot glue that. And then we are just going to keep going around the whole entire thing. Just add small amounts of hot glue. Do not try and go in with a ton of hot glue. I know it seems like it might need it. Please just don't. It will look very, very messy. You'll end up with a big kind of sticky looking mess. Unless you want that look, I just would not recommend it. You will want it somewhat flexible in the end as well because it will be draping over the base of the tree. This is how far one rope got me, so I am just hot gluing at the very end of that rope just so that I can put the next rope on. And then I did add a third rope. Like I said earlier, I do wish that I could find the thicker nautical rope. I do think that it would have made it quite a bit bigger, but I do like this thinner nautical rope that they had. When you get to the end, just hot glue the side and then the bottom of the tree skirt because you will want to tuck it in slightly just so that it gives it the nice round look. To finish off this tree skirt, we are going to be making tassels. I saw how to make tassels on Pinterest. I am very bad at making them. Please don't come after me. We are going to be using the same yarn that we did for the first project, and I'm going to be using this 2.5 inch cardboard and wrapping the yarn around about 30 times. And after we do that, I'm going to be taking the yarn off, tying a little knot at the very top, and then cutting the one end and then making it even with all the other tassels. If you have an easier way, please let me know in the comments. This, I think, is the easiest way, but I still struggled, so I don't know, maybe I'm just really, really not talented when it comes to tassel making. I made 16 tassels for the whole tree skirt, the easiest way that I could think to make sure that they were even without, of course, measuring out the whole entire thing and evenly spacing them because that's, of course, just ridiculous. I basically just put them across from each other in fourths. Then I added a small amount of hot glue. And then in the middle of each of those tassels, add one more tassel. I felt like maybe I should have stopped here. I also don't know when to stop. I've said this in many, many videos, but of course I added one in between each of these ones. But let me know in the comments, should I have stopped one step before, or do you like in between each of these tassels? And then it's time to add it to your tree. If you have someone to help you, it does make it quite a bit easier. I unfortunately do not have eyes on my hands, so I can't see what's happening underneath the tree skirt.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're loving all of the Christmas DIYs and you want to see more, make sure to click through and watch all of our other Christmas videos. We have a full playlist with our Christmas DIYs that you can jump through and watch right here. And as always, we hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.